over running back contracts with Bijan Robinson signed, and now we are waiting for Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions. But in the meantime, the Baltimore Ravens, we talk about them a lot because they have a new head coach. Feels like a new era. The end of the last era, the John Harbaugh era, ended with them not making the playoffs, which is a very rare thing for Baltimore. And at the center of that, next to Lamar, was Derrick Henry, who is now well into his 30s, still doing the Derrick Henry thing, but also being frustrated with how last year went and sitting down with our Steve Weish to talk about his goals for this year.
Last year didn't go the way I wanted it to individually, and then, we wasn't happy how the year ended last year as a group. So just motivated from that, want to be better, wanting to play better, and getting better results, individually as a group when we're out there. But, it starts here by putting the work in and letting it translate when that time comes.
So, listen, this guy is a true anomaly, physically, mentally. We'll talk about it shortly, but I think he has played his way into the Hall of Fame. It's sitting there right in front of him, and he can slam dunk it with another great season, certainly with a Super Bowl ring. Mansai, what do you think when you hear a guy at his age, with his stature, what he's accomplished, still being frustrated with himself?
I don't believe him. I mean, this wasn't the year last year wasn't the year that he wanted for himself. Derrick, you had 1,595 yards. You were 30 less yards, about 30 less yards than James Cook, who won the rushing title. And if that wasn't good enough, they talk about years, right? Consecutive. Let me tell you, let me go all the way back to 2019 for you, Derrick Henry. This is what you did. 2019, you led the league in rushing with over 1,500 yards. 2020, you led the league again with over 2,000 yards rushing. 2021, you were hurt. You only played 8 games. You still almost ran for 1,000 on them boys. 2022, you came in second with over 1,500 yards. 2023, you came second again with nearly 1,200 yards. 2024, you came second to Saquon Barkley, who almost broke Eric Dickerson's record, and you still had almost 2,000 yards. And I just mentioned last year that you came second to James Cook, less than 30 yards from the guy. So I don't know what else. Maybe you just want one. I get it, Derrick. But again, there has to come a time where Derrick himself just says, man, I've accomplished so much. But knowing who he is, knowing all of the things that he's accomplished in his tremendous career so far, the guy's not slowing down, Jaleel.
No.
And that's a scary thing for us as defenders, that somebody that big. I mean, there's a picture that came out of him, a little clip during OTAs, and his triceps. The guy just looks like he's getting in better shape as he goes on. So, Derrick Henry, salute to you, but I don't believe you that last year, I mean, maybe it didn't go the way you wanted to, but it would be a fantasy for a whole bunch of people that do play the same position as you to have those type of numbers, Jaleel.
Yeah, I agree with you, Manti, and I think when you rattle off those numbers, Manti, it just goes to show what kind of competitor he is, and that's why KB just mentioned him in the Hall of Fame conversation. But I think for me, it's more so the ball security issues for him. He prides himself on taking care of the ball, just like every running back. I remember being in college, and our coach would be in the team meetings, and he would talk to the running backs, and he said, you see this, guys? This thing's called the golden nugget. The whole city's depending on you to take care of the golden nugget. So when you talk about productivity, I don't think that's the issue. We know what Derrick Henry's going to do year in, year out. We know what kind of physical specimen he is. But you see him here in practice working on double ball security drills, high and tight.
With the sleeves.
With the sleeves, right? And you know he plays the game with sleeves. Former players know playing the game with sleeves, especially at running back on both arms, tends to make the ball slippery. So when he mentions him not playing up to his caliber or his standard, I think it's more so the ball security aspect, and I know him to be a true professional, and he'll make sure that he works on that coming this training camp, and to be able to provide a secure ball security heading into the season.
Julio, that is an excellent point, and that is the answer to the question. For Derrick Henry, 1,000-yard season, 100-yard game, like that's old hat. He does that for years. It's the little things in mastering the position like that he is really, really into. That's amazing. But I personally, I am so excited to see what Derrick Henry does this year, what he can do, because anything's possible. What's fun about Derrick Henry is the conventional restraints on the human body don't apply to him. He's different. He is the guy who is what happens when perfect genetics meet perfect work ethic. And it is very, very, very rare. So there's a club, and all the clubs that he's in the 2,000 yards and the all-pro and all, there's a club that he's trying to enter. Derrick Henry is 32 years old. These are the greatest rushing seasons in the history of the NFL for running backs 32 and older. And it's just Peyton Riggins, John Henry Johnson. It's 5 Hall of Famers. But what I want you to look at is the season. Walter Payton did it 40 years ago. John Riggins did it 43 years ago. JHJ did it 60 years ago, which means, guys, nobody over 32 has touched those heights in over 4 decades. That's what's in front of him. It is supposed to fall apart for Derrick Henry. Eventually, even on the most beautiful custom automobile that you put all this money in, that has the huge engine, the wheels do fall off. That's what he is fighting against. This is not just football. This is science. Yeah. This is biology. I can't wait to see what he's capable of, because the other thing Derrick Henry has going for him, and I think this is the coolest thing in his Hall of Fame case, which is getting stronger every year, all-time leader in NFL history, December and January rushing yards per game. All-time leader. Derrick Henry, number 1 in December and January games at over 100 yards. Number 2 is Barry Sanders. Number 3 is Eric Dickerson. This is a Hall of Fame guy here. It's a Hall of Fame guy. One more year, and he could be a first ballot Hall of Fame guy. So I am so excited. I know Derrick Henry when he's 26, when he's 27. He's great. He's huge. He's fast. We know that. What can you do, not against tacklers, but against Father Time? Because this is that season. And if he does some massive season here for Baltimore at this age, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Manti?
I think another thing that people don't really consider is he's also going against something called a teammate named Lamar Jackson, right? So all of those guys on that list didn't have a quarterback that was also taking carries from them. Right. So whenever Derrick Henry has those opportunities to get the ball in his hand, there is a level of push and want to, because at any time, number 8 could just pull that ball and he could run himself. Secondly, Declan Doyle, who is their new offensive coordinator, is talking about putting Lamar Jackson under center a little bit more. And I think for Derrick Henry, that fits exactly what this locomotive wants. The guy wants the ball when he's 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage and he's able to get some momentum first. Being out of shotgun, he can do that. He did that for the past few years with the Baltimore Ravens. But the guy wants to be 8 yards back, run some leads, run some powers, and let that guy keep going. Because playing against him and being a defender trying to tackle him, KB, if you don't tackle him within a yard of the line of scrimmage, matter of fact, a yard behind the line of scrimmage, that boy's going to put you on that train. He's going to take you for a nice ride, and it's not going to be pleasant.
A nice ride. And last year, he had over 1,200 yards after contact, right? So that just goes to show how he runs the ball. It's just a physical, right? It has a physical aspect. Not only does he look like a physical specimen, he plays the game that way. And Manti, you hit it on the head. If he's in the I formation and he's coming downhill on an ISO with a big-time fullback in front of you, that's not something that defenders want to take on for 4 quarters straight. Coach would always, when we played them, Coach would put on the film. And he said, guys, if you better have a tackling plan for Derrick Henry, and you better get him before his wheels start churning. That's at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. Because if you allow him to get those wheels turning, if you allow that train to get that steam, full head of steam coming downhill, and you meet that stiff arm, you're going to be on somebody's top 10.
You know what's crazy about that, Jaleel, is that I remember when we were planning to play against Derrick Henry, everybody was saying, if he's to his left and you see that right arm out, get ready to whack that arm down. So when you talk about tackle plan, Jaleel, there's so many different things that you have to take into consideration before hitting this guy. And we did drill specifically when he's going to his left, that right arm is out, be prepared to duck or whack that arm down, because he's going to take you for a nice little ride.
Yeah, and from experience, KB, you talked about Father's Time, but I don't think Father Time really pertains to Derrick Henry, because he's not slowing down. And I remember being with the Texans in 2019, and you talked about it, Manti. We worked drills literally trying to knock down the stiff arm. And I'm like, okay, I got a tackle plan. I'm ready, right? So he comes in, he's this highly talented back. He's having a great season, and it's me and him on the goal line. I'm like, all right, I got the plan. I'm confident. I've worked it all week. And sure enough, I got that stiff arm right to the forehead, looked up, and he's walking into the end zone. And I say that lightly because I've taken down a lot of big-time backs, but this guy right here, he's built different. You see the way that he trains in the offseason, the money he spends on his body, and the way he just invest in himself, man, and it's a beautiful thing to see, him continue to run and be the person that he is for so long in this league.
It's incredible. We've been seeing him in the league for a decade, and the three of us are still so excited to talk about him. We could do the whole show just talking about Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? But listen, every player has different versions of what they have to prove. Let's go to another threat in the AFC, the Chargers. Justin Herbert has a lot to prove. We know that. We talked to his new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel. In fact, our buddy Dan Graziano from ESPN found him.